Somebody loves cavalry's here. Is that a good Tracer impression? Oh well. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 Overwatch heroes. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we've studied the courageous characters of Overwatch and determined which one proves to be the most interesting. We've taken many factors into account, including gameplay, popularity, personality, character design, and backstory. However, we're not ranking these characters based on who you should play in an online tournament because everyone has their own ideal character.
Look, the people decided they were better off without us.
Number 10, Soldier 76. After the collapse of Overwatch, Soldier 76 took on the role of a vigilante, setting out to find the people who conspired against the organization. While his identity is a mystery to people in-game, it's pretty obvious to us that he's the founder.
I led Overwatch for 20 years. We ended the Omnic crisis and paved the way to a better future.
What makes him somewhat appealing is how close to the traditional Call of Duty-esque gameplay he gives, making him a good candidate for beginners of Overwatch and hence why he's in the tutorial. His ultimate, which allows him to auto-aim enemies, gives those players more respectful nods by referencing the use of cheat bots. He's not your typical soldier, but he's a great representation of the military shooter subgenre.
Old habits die hard, I guess.
Number 9, Lucio. To quote Disney's Hercules, a true hero isn't measured by the size of his strength, but by the size of his heart. No other fits that definition better than Lucio, a Brazilian DJ who uses the power of his music to bring people together. Using his speed skates and parkour abilities, Lucio's able to dart around the battlefield, firing his sonic amplifier to heal or boost his teammates. And let me tell you, it's ever so annoying when he bounces you off the side of a cliff.
Push off.
From the backstory to the playstyle, everything about Lucio promotes teamwork. And in the end, isn't that what Overwatch is all about?
Drop the beat.
Number 8, Pharah. Are turrets getting you down? Pesky clumps of enemies blocking your path? What you need is a helpful sprinkling of justice, rained from above, of course.
Justice reigns from above.
Rocket jumping onto the countdown is our favorite flying Egyptian. Well, she's the only flying Egyptian, but that doesn't make her any less awesome. And in case you were wondering, the recipe for awesome is 2 parts Iron Man armor, 1 part Quake 2 rocket launcher, a dash of brazen femininity, and voila, you've got yourself a Pharah. Careful, she's hot.
Single stop.
Number 7, Widowmaker.
Adieu, chérie.
What do you get when you give a femme fatale a similar backstory to Deadpool, but take away the happy ending? You get the appropriately named Widowmaker, a young woman who is tormented by a terrorist organization before being released back to her husband and murdering him. Basically, she was tortured into becoming a killing machine. Widowmaker is not an assassin to be taken lightly. Her ultimate reveals enemy locations to her teammates, making your death come much quicker than expected as soon as you turn that corner. Number 6, Mei. Don't worry, no ice puns here. This isn't Mr. Freeze we're dealing with. But this is Mei, and she is bae. She's a climatologist whose research team was killed off by a polar storm, and yet she still has hope for humanity. That's some damn fine faith right there. Representing her personality, most of her abilities don't give direct damage to her foes, but rather make the use of the environment to win the fight. Mei can freeze parts of the world around her to slow down her enemies and deal damage over time. The ice wall can also get pretty friggin' annoying though, even for her allies.
Wall coming up.
Number 5, Junkrat.
Is this the work of master criminals or just a couple of idiots?
After being exposed to the radiation caused by a fusion core detonation, Jameson Hawks became the infamous criminal Junkrat. He soon meets Roadhog, and the two set out on an international crime spree, the reputation of which shows in the gameplay.
Perfect day for some mayhem.
Junkrat is perhaps one of the most deadly and rage-inducing characters, maybe next to Torbjorn. But I guess that's what puts him on our list. Got a player with a kill streak against you? Settle it with Junkrat. His spiked explosive tire is notorious for taking out multiple players at once. So here's a tip for you. If you hear fire in the hole, run. Number 4, D.Va. Hailing from South Korea, Hana Song is a professional StarCraft player turned mech pilot. Regardless of her being the youngest member of the Overwatch team, she proves to be ruthless on the battlefield and refuses to show any mercy towards her opponents. While operating her mech, D.Va has access to advanced targeting systems and twin shotgun cannons. Should the situation get too heated for her, she can launch out of her mech, and if her ultimate is up, she can also activate her self-destruct sequence. If that's the case, just get behind cover, because it's gonna blow up big.
This.
Now, just because her mech is gone and she's a little more vulnerable doesn't mean she's any less deadly, as she can be a pretty smooth shot with her light gun. McCree's not the only gunslinger in town. Number 3, Mercy. Just tell her where it hurts. Overwatch's most direct healing character, Mercy is a literal angel watching over her team with healing, buffs, and reviving her allies when they need it the most.
Till Valhalla.
Practical use of her movement abilities, Guardian Angel and Angelic Descent, means Mercy is able to keep up with even her most mobile of allies, and will almost always be found right in the heat of battle. Perhaps the most selfless character in the game, she's the very definition of support, doing her best to ensure that heroes never die. Number 2, Reinhardt.
Shield engaged!
An old man with a jet-powered hammer? Tell us that doesn't scream total badass. Reinhardt is one of those tank characters that's almost as hard to kill as someone like Roadhog.
Barrier is failed! No barrier!
Using his bulky robotic suit to his advantage, Reinhardt is a huge threat when engaging in close combat. While dealing knockback damage with his hammer and charging at enemies for more knockback damage, Reinhardt can easily catch you in a corner if you're not careful. Speaking of charging, that's just what he's built for. So, if your team has a Reinhardt, get behind that enormous shield and raise some hell. Before we unveil our top pick, here are some heroic honorable mentions.
Former agents of Overwatch, this is Winston. Obviously.
Number 1, Tracer.
Trying to crash another party, love?
Tracer is perhaps the most popular and well-designed character of the entire game. Through her time-traveling abilities, Tracer is also one of the trickiest characters you can pick. She can recall herself back to a certain point before she dies, making her one of the most difficult characters to eliminate, even though she doesn't have a lot of health.
Just in time.
However, with a load of charm and personality, who could ever hate our favorite Brit? She's cheerful, she's spunky, she's goofy, and we'd blast Careless Whisper outside HQ just for her.
Don't worry, loves. Cavalry's here.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.